Hey guys, welcome to another New World video. So guys, today the AGS team released episode 7 of their monthly dev update, and I hadn't expected much, but upon watching it I have to say I'm pretty excited. So let's get into it and have a closer look at some of the highlights and changes. So first, I will begin by saying there is no PTR in June. I had thought that the last dev blog had made this obvious, but I have noticed a lot of people asking about it on Discord and in the forums, and I just wanted to share that information so that people who are looking have their answer. So the next PTR cycle will not be until July, which is why they are doing the XP event throughout June, as a sort of tide us over until they take their holidays, work on upcoming content, or whatever they're doing. Okay, now that I have covered that, let's get into the dev update. So the first thing that they covered was the roadmap, and the new content coming to New World this summer, and it's pretty awesome. So in the July PTR, we will be seeing the new event, the Medley Fair, and the new Expedition Barnacles and Black Powder, and the introduction of the new Expedition Finder tool. They are changing, though, how they roll out the PTR starting in July. This is because they want us to focus on the content, and make sure it is getting the attention that it requires in order to address imbalances, bugs, and keep it engaging. They are also no longer dumping a ton of content on us right from the beginning, which I think is a great idea. Instead, they are going to roll it out in segments throughout the month. This will allow us to test out the event, report the bugs and stuff, then they will address them, then with the next phase they will roll out the new expedition, then the following week hit us with the group finder tool, and likely end it all off with the mutation for the new expedition. This is really great and surprisingly thoughtful from the AGS team, because as we know, when they drop content on the PTR, people tend to focus on the big stuff like the new expedition and nothing else, so the bugs and issues with the event go unnoticed and untested. This way, everything gets the attention it needs. Also guys, as they say in the video, when you do play on the PTR, be sure to use the in-game tool to report any issues you encounter. That's the whole point of the exercise in the first place. Don't only post on the forums. The devs get the in-game reports directly, and you will more likely get the attention on the bug if you do it that way. The thing I'm most excited about in this category was the in-game Expedition Finder tool. I know people say it ruins the experience, but really it is a great way to get into the runs faster, especially when your company numbers have dwindled as mine have, and I know many of you have said the same. The next thing that they spoke about, which I think everyone should know, is that they are removing the expedition tuning orbs. This is also due to happen in July. Instead of being limited by keys, you will now have an entrance hard limit, 15 normal per day and 20 mutations per week, which I guess should be more than enough to keep people sated with their expedition needs. If you have any keys stored though, or materials to make them, I recommend making as many as you can now, because also when they remove them, they are planning to convert your existing keys to a sort of bonus roll cache. So if you kill a boss in an expedition after the patch, you will get an additional roll for some more loot using the old existing orbs, which is pretty cool. It sure beats having them just go gray and become useless. Now of course I will say I'm not sure how I feel about the limiters on entrance. I know the numbers are generous, but why limit them at all, especially the mutations? I know some disagree with me on that point, and your thoughts are just as valid as mine. Let me know in the comments what you think. Should they just do away entirely with the limiters, or do people think limiters are good to keep people from spamming? Anyway, on to the next point. They also are doing a huge rework on perks. This I am very excited about, if they do it properly. They report that over 150 perks are being reworked. The reason for this is they sort of wanted to shake up the metas. They have noticed, as I know we have as players, that some of the perks are clearly just good, and most of the perks are clearly completely useless, making a ton of gear just pointless. What they're aiming to do is make all of the perks viable, creating a new environment where players can play with perks more to create more interesting and varied builds, without gimping their character or clearly setting yourself up at a disadvantage with those who use specific perks. They are also changing how perks, specifically weapon damage perks, scale when the perks exist on the weapon. It will provide a much larger bonus on the weapon than if it was on the armor, which makes sense when it's a weapon perk. The one thing mentioned that I love was they are also tweaking the logic on rolls. So perks that roll on gear will have a higher % chance to roll based on the other perks that have rolled. So the weapon or armor will make more sense, again reducing the amount of garbage gear we get. A lot more things with perks like Keen, Vicious, etc. over the stupid Beast Ward and stuff like that. They also are making changes to jewelry, greatly reducing the chances that you'll roll perks like crafting or gathering skills, and increasing the chance for useful combat perk rolls, because they are seeing way too much garbage jewelry, as I'm sure so are we. Another thing getting tweaked is the crafting clothing. They want to make it not so much easier, but more obvious and logical to acquire, so they are reworking the drops on that stuff as well. Let's hope they finally add the Vengeful Weaponsmith gear, but that's just a dream of mine. One perk that they focused on that they are changing is the durability perk, and they are changing it to indestructible. This will apply to any gear that currently has the durability perk, so now these items will never take durability damage when used. They are also greatly reducing the chance that this perk will roll on gear at all. I don't know if this change will really make this perk desirable anyhow, but we will have to see how it plays out. An indestructible tool, for example, might be interesting. One thing mentioned here I was excited about was a change they are making to the double stat gear. They are bumping up the stats on this gear so you will get much more. You still will get more of a particular stat like Constitution from single stat gear, but if you're like me and love double stat gear, which I do, then this is great because it will make more interesting builds with greater stats available. They are also making a ton of changes across the board to life skills, crafting, refining, gathering, all of it. A big change that I'm sure a lot of people will be happy about is logging and fishing once again are going to see the required experience to hit 200 greatly reduced, which will make leveling them a lot more painless. Now, if we could only convince the devs to change the fishing loot tables to make them more viable to actually do, then we would be golden. They are changing salvaging as well, and guys, this one is amazing. They're making it a lot more rewarding and fun. How they are doing this is by adding a chance at a perfect salvage. When you proc a perfect salvage, you will receive a new item. This item will have a few uses. First, it can be used to do crafting research, which will give you a bump in XP towards leveling a desired crafting skill. Second, you can use it to acquire a new type of gypsum to help progress your expertise. It can be extracted for some valuable resources, or you can, if you wish, salvage it once again for a big lot of repair kits. The choice is yours depending on your needs. But overall, this is a great change. We salvage so much junk, it'll be nice to have it give a chance at another way to progress our character. They are also making changes to the experience tracks for all of the trade skills. For gathering, we will need much less experience to hit 200, which will speed that up a ton. Refining also is seeing a big reduction on needed experience to 200 in order to keep it on track with gathering. Also, a very cool but strange change is after the patch there will only be tier 5 regions, no more low level ones. Why they are doing this is a head scratcher, but kinda cool I guess for the storage and organization of our stuff. All crafting training is going to see a huge experience bump when you craft tier 4 or tier 5 items, with furniture and weaponsmithing seeing the largest reduction in needed XP to hit 200, so it'll make leveling that furniture a lot more easier. So overall, some big changes that would seem to address a lot of the complaints that people have had. Better perks on the items you craft, better logic on the perk rolls to make the gear more viable, and the skills being way easier to level. I think we might see crafting being a lot more viable post-July. And finally, the one biggest, most interesting change to crafting is in regards to the name boss-specific drops, like the Lazarus Bow or Infamy and stuff like that. They said they've gotten a ton of feedback that these items at times give players a lot of grief to farm, and I can confirm that from personal experience. So what they're doing is kinda cool. When you get a boss drop after the patch that is unneeded, you can salvage it for special items that can be used by players to craft a specific item that they're after. It won't be a 1-for-1, however, which is smart because that would make things way too easy. But having it like this is cool, because even if it takes, say, 10 drops to craft one specific, at least you know eventually you're getting your desired item for your invested time. Now, what I am curious about is how it will roll out expertise-wise. Like, if my expertise is 600 in muskets, and I craft an Infamy, am I guaranteed a 590 plus one? Or will it always roll 600? Will it be a way for players to exploit bypassing the expertise system? These are things that will require testing for sure. Anyways, guys, that's the broad strokes. I am very excited overall for all of these changes, but most of all, I am most excited to see how the perk changes might completely change how we gear and how good crafting might become. So guys, be sure when this PTR drops in July to get on it, to test things and report diligently. And let's make sure this one hits live at the end of July stable and amazing. And as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.